The whole childhood wonder stage just blew right past you, didn't it?
Look at the size of that whammer!
Wham! Cause that.
Triple whammy. Not the triple whammy.
Hello, good morning, good evening, good night, my dear whammers. I'm glad to see that you have decided to return to the place of whamming, where you are going to wham yourselves until all the muscles in your arms can no longer wham any further. That's right, it's some thrill shock whamming right here on Wham.
Does very much sound like you're backhandedly insulting every single person that listens to this podcast.
Well, people listen to this show are whammers. People listen to the main Fluff and Hammer show are the fluffers. So read into that what you will.
Get together, guys, and you can probably they can work smarter, not harder. We shouldn't all be doing it at the same time. If we all come together, no pun intended. Probably a more efficient way of doing it all.
So the Patreon show will be called the Circle Jerk.
Biscuits at the ready.
Oh, my biscuit's wet. Anyhow, so we are here, as always. I am Adam, this is Andy, and we're here with issue 17 of Warhammer Monthly, which amuses me now that whenever I see us being mentioned anywhere, it's never called Warhammer Monthly, it's Wham issue 17. And so I'm like, that shortening of the name has worked.
Yep. In social media, you've got a character count for most posts, so it makes sense.
Yep.
So we're hopeful because last episode was, well, it ended on a very interesting discussion, which was probably more satisfying than talking about the comic as a whole. It was probably the most disappointing issue we've had to date, based on content and, again, as much our expectations of the creatives. So. Mm-hmm. And it's important to colour that, and I'll preface that as readers, we bring our own baggage to these things, so it's important that, as I've said, review is more an opinion piece rather than any critical analysis. I'll speak to things that I can talk to about authority with any measured criticism, but there's a lot I don't, so at that point it just becomes an opinion, and it has no more or less merit than anyone else's.
I mean, yes, absolutely. We've got a history of the medium. You more so than I, because you've worked within the medium. But for me, it's always a look back at what was that I always find really interesting. You know, this entire concept of what is a successful British comic in 1999, 2000, 2001. And sometimes you get that answer, sometimes you get something far removed from that answer, and sometimes you get the Redeemer.
Yes. Sadly, we'll come to it very, very shortly. Because good news, he's not in this issue. Bad news, in the second page they tell us he's coming back in the next issue, which is in 2 weeks' time, if you're reading this back in the day of 1999, because I'm jumping ahead from the cover for a bit, it's interesting to do a thing that not really a thing that ever happened typically in UK comics, is they temporarily increase the frequency from monthly to fortnightly over the summer period.
Yeah.
Now, UK comics traditionally tended to be, at this point, we come from where the weekly was the main thing. Comics would often start out potentially fortnightly if they weren't sure of the sales, or they were just cautious of it. If your comic went to weekly, you knew it was a success. If your comic went the other way, in any way, shape or form, it was losing sales rapidly.
Yeah.
And so if it goes from weekly to fortnightly, as my first love Transformers did, at that point you know the writing's on the wall. It's still got about a year and a bit after that, and it was still banging at that point. It went high. Other comics, not so lucky. Thundercats, which went, I believe, weekly to, I think, fortnightly, then monthly.
Yes.
And was a shell of itself before it was mercy killed.
Same with the UK Real Ghostbusters comic. That did. Yes, it was. It was fortnightly, then it extended to weekly, then went back to fortnightly.
Yeah. And then the Secret Wars was the thing that launched fortnightly, became weekly, then Secret Wars 2 was weekly when that happened, and then it finished because Secret Wars finished.
Yes.
Or Secret Wars finished. Thank God.
You're not a fan of the second Secret Wars?
I like a lot of the tales in and around it. The actual mini itself is.
But the Beyonder wants to learn about disco.
But the Beyonder also needs to be shown how to use a toilet.
Yes.
Yes, kids. The Secret Wars 2. You can see the exciting things, but I believe it's Spider-Man teaches the Beyonder how to go for a number 2.
Yes, it's an actual thing. I've heard some shit in my time, but fuck no, that one takes the biscuit.
Also, Comics Code Authority approved, remember?
Yes.
So, all ages content. But as I say, for this in the sort of content space, they announced they go fortnightly with some, which is something Marvel and DC Marvel more so than DC, but would occasionally do in the late 80s, very early 90s, was a title would pivot to bi-weekly over the summer period, and it would usually be tied into an event, or sometimes just a hot shot them up to a significant issue number at a reasonable date that we do something. Mm-hmm. But as I think so, in here you're now getting you're getting 2 doses of Warhammer monthly a month going forward.
Yeah. Now the question is, when does that stop?
We'll find out as the contents go, because I don't think they actually say how long. They just say over the summer, so they don't say how many issues.
So is that 3 issues over 6 weeks, or is that...
Most of the Marvel ones tended to be 3-month periods from memory serves. It used to be like 6-issue chunk.
Yeah.
So I if they're copying that model, and it's an interesting one to do, there's nothing in there as to why they're doing it, because obviously it's told to you by the 2 idiots.
Yes.
Not us, the fictional ones in page 2.
We're the in-fictional idiots.
Yes, we're the real life idiots telling you stuff. Although, to be fair, we probably are basically fictional, because you've never met us before. We might not be real to you.
Oh no, I just realised that you're the Space Marine and I'm the I'm the Chaos Warrior. Help.
I don't think either's a thing to be proud of.
No.
There is no honour or glory in either of those characters. Only shame. Desperate shame.
Oh.
So, issue 17. So, what are we promised on the cover? Well, first of all, free awesome combat cards game.
Yes, I've been trying desperately to find them, and I have turned up nothing.
Yeah, I imagine it will be... Did they not do like a trading card game around this time, or am I thinking that's maybe the later one I'm thinking of?
No, so they had... The combat cards was originally 1987 and 1988, then they brought it back in 1996 for 4 packs, and then it doesn't come back again until like 2010, 2011.
So, somebody's found some shit in a warehouse and they want rid of it.
Yep. Now, what I was hoping to find out...
Very rich in comic publishing is free gifts can sometimes be. We found this shit down the back of a drawer. We need rid of it because it's taking up space. And getting rid of it is cheaper than storing it.
Yep. Have a look at any late issue of Sonic the Comic and any of the stuff that they gave away. It is insane just how tenuous the links can be. It's a boomerang. Throw it. Spin it like Sonic. Is the one that always sticks in my mind. That and hog tags, because that just sounds like something you'd hang off your Prince Albert.
So that's our masthead. So what we get is Blood Quest is back. Into the Eye of Terror. And you've got a gorgeous cover by Kev Walker of Blood Angels Captain Leonatus. Big ethereal warpy energy behind him of loads of different colours, and then just sort of black nebulous smoke and the vague hint of a tendril and something else as he wades into it. Chainsword in one hand, bolt pistol in the other. Bolt pistol recently discharged because there's just some nice warm smoke coming from it. Lovely.
It is nice, isn't it? It is such a nice cover.
I will just go back to my one refrain about Leonatus. It's like, Captain, and you're rocking a chainsword. Piss off. Honestly, anyone who's listening to this, have you ever in your puff had a game of 40k where you've given your captain a chainsaw?
No.
That's a rotten loadout.
Yes, it's just silly. No, that's not how it works.
And it's like, I get he's got a bolt pistol, because they all come with bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades as standard in 2nd/3rd edition, I believe. However, it's like, that's what you're packing, mate? At least have a plasma pistol or something about you. Again, showing my Dark Angels leanings here, but yeah, you want Something a wee bit more. Or a master-crafted combi weapon or something.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that you get nothing for him, that he's a power fist. Come on, you would have thought a power fist would have been the type of thing that he'd been carrying.
I can see the appeal of a chainsword is for comics, I can see why, is because you can have a bit more fun illustratively with the action and the wounding and the stabbing and the rending.
Yeah.
Because the power sword, technically, if you're doing it properly, it's got an energy thing, so it'll actually cauterize the wound when it lops off the arm. So you're not going to get a lot of blood, and it'll cauterize it in both bits. So you're probably not going to get that splat, the nice splatter effect that you can have fun with a toothbrush and some blacking. But just as a loadout, if I'm having my captain on the table, it's like, unless I'm having to scrimp for points to put something on the field, you aren't giving him a chainsword in case he has to go up against, a Hive Tyrant or an Avatar, for fuck's sake. I've got a chainsword! Yes, I'm the fiery molten incarnation of the Eldar Death God.
I think you'll find what's actually happening here is that he's going to go at it like Fred Durst. I've got a chainsword, I'll skim your ass raw. If this day keeps going this way, I just might break something tonight. But a chainsaw,
yeah, your chainsword.
What?
Yeah, your chainsword when you go up against the Avatar.
Yeah.
or a goddamn Hive Tyrant. It's like, oh, you've got one of them, have you? Yeah, you know what you've got now? What? 5 wounds and you're dead. Off the table. and I've got however many victory points.
The delight is Warhammer lore and fiction compared to Warhammer on the table. And there's always been a disconnect.
Yeah, it's like, there's some Peshbur loadouts kicking on here. As we say, the cover of Glorious, a great colour balance, and it's a very, with the Blood Angels, you've got the temptation of, with it being the red, to kind of be that very warm in that, but even here it's quite a nice, cool and dull to show that, no, they're war-torn, they're battered, they're in the Eye of Terror, which we know, so you'll let the background give you the crazy colour effects, and let that kind of be a little bit more muted, but still recognisably dark. Blood Angels even.
Yeah. Dark Angels on the brain.
Yeah, because they're the best.
I do like the fact that Leonatus is starting to give the people's eyebrow.
Yeah.
Which when you go down the bottom, Ragnar's Rock. Yeah, okay.
He does also have a late 19, early 2000s rock haircut almost.
It's not far off, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he does have the people's hairline. The special receding haircut all Space Marines must have.
Yes, aye. Ah, man. I remember the days when Space Marines had mohawks.
I get, it's the fact that given it it was in the 80s, 90s, and again, I know it came from, obviously, like Blanche, all the guys are old school metal guys. It was like, where's my, but you did enough emo Marines. I mean, I'm sorry, Corvus Corax must have had a set of curtains. Raven Guard must have had, like, pure emo haircuts all the way through.
Oh, absolutely.
But come on, these are your peak boy band eras. Come on, some of them should have had, where's your Marines with frosted tips?
They did have a load of Marines with curtains at one point. In fact, the last Blood Angels box set had proper NSYNC hairlines to them.
Beautiful, but again, also even just like the Manchester scene, where's my pudding bowl haircuts and stuff?
Oh man, the Manchester Marines is something I desperately want to see. You alright there, big Geordie lad?
Yes, so, lovely cover, eye-popping, great, the colour choices are impeccable.
It's my favourite cover of the show, of the series. So far, it's beautiful.
It's, again, you can see it's digital just more because of some of the background lens flares and stuff, but to be clear, Kev Walker could have done this by paint if he wanted.
Oh, absolutely.
Very much in his wheelhouse. This is not a artist taking shortcuts. It's I could have done this with gouache and acrylics if I wanted, but
that's we mention him quite often on the show. The Todd Father himself, Mr. McFarlane, he said a thing many, many years ago, which I always think about, which is digital is not using shortcuts. You still need to have that understanding and that skill to be able to draw. If he drew something with a tablet and his mother drew something with a tablet, the picture he drew would still be better because his mother has never drawn.
Yeah. However, the undo button is a lot quicker than having to use whiteout.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's very true. I do not disagree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Right. Should we get into the contents page then? Inside this comic, we've got Darkblade, BloodQuest, new. Ragnar's Rock, and Inquisitor returns. The two fellas just babble around, and the only piece of information that they would give that is worth anything is that, as you said earlier, the action's going to be every 2 weeks. We've got next issue, Scourge and Purge, just 2 weeks from now, with not a bad little cutout. It's readable, you can see everything, the art's readable, so yeah, that's not a bad little preview.
Just a shame it's the Redeemer.
Well, we can't have everything go our way, can we?
No, but given how little went our way last issue, it's the fact that, okay, we're going to give you, here's a lovely cover, we're going to do it 2 weeks, ooh, you're going to get the Redeemer.
Oh no, I've just realised why it's gone to 2 weeks. It is as well, oh god. You know why it's every 2 weeks, don't you, Andy?
No.
Because issue 18 is the Redeemer special. Issue 18 is nothing but Redeemer.
Oh no, like I say, I didn't get every issue back in the day, and I do not remember reading the Redeemer special.
It's just hit me. It's just hit me now. The reason this is every 2 weeks is so they can get the Redeemer special in and count it as a numbered issue.
End the podcast here. I need to go get a stiff drink.
Oh, Christ almighty. No, that's why they've done it. It's every 2 weeks. So, they've done a summer special. So it'll be 3 issues instead of 2. So it's 3 over 6 weeks. Sorry, well, yeah. 3 over a month rather than 2. You know, the space of a month's window. So they could get the Redeemer one in, the Redeemer summer special, so to speak, have it as a numbered issue. You sneaky little fox. Because I bet you...
Look, on the one hand, it does mean that we get the Redeemer over and done with.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if I check my notes here, issue 19 will probably be August 99. Yeah. So, checking my notes here for issue 20. So this is probably not that interesting to you guys listening at home, but I want to see if I'm right.
Oh, just...
So, issue 20 should be September 99? September 1999. That's exactly it. So, yeah, they're not going every 2 weeks as such over the summer holidays. They're releasing 3 issues in that space in order to get the Redeemer, the summer special issue. Fuck
you, James Workshop, 1999.
So, yeah, the Redeemer special, it does not have a copyrighted release date. It's just 1999. So, yeah, that was made to be like a summer special, but instead they've released it as a numbered issue.
Either that, or someone has thought, we've got this, it's not very good, let's get out as quickly as we can.
Yeah. It could be a multitude of reasons. But yeah, no, that's what it is. That's why it's every 2 weeks. It's so they can get the Redeemer special out in between as a numbered issue, and probably that's going to boost the sales figures.
Okay, ladies, gentlemen, life forms, I apologise in advance for next episode.
We will find something positive to talk about it.
It could be the shortest episode on record.
Well, yeah, I mean, the shortest episode on record that should have been the shortest episode was the freebie issue, but then we discovered that they changed all the O's to E's.
Yes. Maybe we'll find a similar nugget of joy, but anyway, let's move on from that. We're on to the letters page now.
Yes. So, somewhere in the warp. There's not a huge amount in the letters page this week, other than somebody saying about a Malice Darkblade miniature. That's going to be coming as the next limited edition miniature.
BloodQuest is going to be released as a graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone said, could you compiling all the comic strips from the first year of Warhammer Monthly into one volume? And it's like, no, because I don't want Darkblade alongside good stories. I have to deal with that on a monthly basis. I don't want it in something nice and shiny on my shelf. I'll take collections of Titan, BloodQuest, and Demonic Fuse. Thank you very much.
All of them got collected and redone, actually. Most of them got remastered not that long, well, so not long ago, about 10 years ago, and they were beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I do want to mention, though, the Blood Quest film. The rumours about a film, however, are merely the work of heretics. Do you know what happened to the Blood Quest film?
No, because like I say, at that point, this was me dipping. I say my AK fandom was 99 was where it really started to kind of drop to the point of 2000. It kind of I'm kind of done.
Yeah. So the Blood Quest film, there's a couple of very brief bits of work that were done, just a proof of concept stuff. I don't know if that stuff's on YouTube or not, but it was done many, many years ago. It was all up on the Games Workshop website for a couple of years. But it became Ultramarines, a Warhammer 40k movie. As the budget got cut and cut and cut and cut, that's what it became. So there, I apologise for making you remember that existed.
It's been a while since I gave that any thought, and hopefully it will be a similar length of time from now that I ever give that thought again. Yeah, not much in the letters pages for this one, and we get the Jericho competition winners where you got to dialogue a panel.
Yes. If this was the winner, I'm kind of annoyed. So the panel from many, many, many months ago now, when we recorded it, it's Cal Jericho and Scabs. They're climbing up a cliff face, whilst a load of cultists are shooting at them. And Adam Watson of Staines has kept everything, except the cultists are now shouting, "We don't want your double glazing." It's alright.
It's like
I'm sure there was better ones out there. I might cut this panel out and then stick it up for the audience to have a go at.
Yeah.
Just for the hell of it.
Yeah, it's very much a all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm glad somebody won the last Jericho miniature or T-shirt. I love the fact that it's we invited you to come up with a witty taunt for the greatest redemption is pictured in this scene from Cal Jericho in return for the very last Cal Jericho miniature or a T-shirt.
I'm assuming they were letting the winner choose.
I assume the miniature went to the winner and the T-shirts went to the runners-up.
Possibly, or you may have had the choice. And at which point you go, I'll take the miniature. Why? Because I'll just put it away in a box, knowing what you fuckers are like, and in 10 years' time, I'll put it on eBay. And make what we make all in the business, a killing.
Yep. I wish to hell that I had done that with a lot of the stuff that I had way back when. Could have bought a house with the things that I just gave away. Anyhow, right, so let's get into Darkblade. Book 2, Part 4, Futures, script by Dan Abnett, art by Kev Hopgood. For this time round, we have got a slight flashback. We are getting caught up with all of the things that Darkblade has done.
No, this isn't a flashback. This is all the stuff that potentially is going to happen to him. This is a nice open panel. It's a splash page, but with panels. But rather than any borders, it's Darkblade clutching his head, and he's just seeing lots of visions of what happens to him, according to the Orb of Malkin. And basically it's just saying, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Either some other Dark Elves are going to stab you in your cold one, or you're going to be eaten by wolves, or you're going to be lying dead in the battlefield, you lying down, big broken off blade in the belly of your cold one.
When I said I'm getting caught up, what I mean is that first panel is the story of Darkblade from the beginning until now. Because it's Formalis Darkblade, the quest to recover his soul from the demon Zarkin, Islam and Nardius. There you go, that's everything that's happened to Darkblade up until now.
And his guide is the Orb of Malkin. So he's basically sitting in the chaos wastes, and it's been a hard ride of 20 days to reach this point.
Good for him.
So many jokes about that. Listeners, put your own in.
What you could do is you could send us your joke for that. We will put it into the comic, and you can win either a picture of the lost Cal Jericho miniature or a picture of a T-shirt.
Yeah. And so he's basically ranting at the orb, and it's like, all you show me is death. And it's like, no hope of promise, or no hope, no promise, success, no chance. Shown torn apart by the witch guard that pursues me. Scavenged by wolves, you show me dead amidst the fallen hosts of a mighty battle. Thanks for telling us. We saw that on the last page.
Well, why is this not something different? Why is this not showing him talking about other things that we haven't already seen?
Well, because what we get to is he's basically then just like grabs the orb. It's like, why do I care? Perhaps I should just be hunting for death. Perhaps that's the only liberty I'm ever going to know. And he goes to Cold One. What do you say? Chats to his Cold One, saying, "Should we go seek death?" And the Cold One basically tells him no.
Mm-hmm. The witch guards are turning up on pterodactyls. Now, is there something of the Filmation about this to you, or is it just me?
No, it's pterodactyls with triceratop heads.
Yes.
I mean, it does have that kind of yeah. It does feel a bit Filmation-y. Not the rendering, but the approach. Yeah, I can hear that noise as well. I can hear the Filmation winged creature noise.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yes,
it's we say specifically Filmation, but mostly He-Man and the Masters of the Universe / She-Ra.
Yes, yeah.
You're
I've also
already
seen it on all different types of places.
Oh yeah, probably, but it's that. So they basically swoop over the battlefield, and all they can see is basically slaughter.
Mm.
And they fly on because they haven't found him. And he basically just gets up, and it turns out they were just plain dead.
Yep.
And then he heads off, basically saying perhaps the damned orb shows us more truth than we first read. In its pictures, it shows us possibilities, not facts. With each passing day, I learnt to read it better. Its cunning ways may show us the route to Zarkan yet.
Yeah. So
this is just nothing.
It is. It's absolutely nothing. But
Illustrated.
I'm
Beautifully illustrated.
Sorry, carry on.
No, I'm just going to make it clear that all of my gripes with this story are with the writing. No qualms about the art.
No. Art is beyond reproach. We cannot. The art's just lovely. I'm going to come at this with this is probably my favourite Darkblade issue strip entry, right? And I know that's damning with faint praise, but it's down to the last page. Because for the first time ever, Malice Darkblade has a character. It's broad strokes, but the fact that he gets up, starts laughing, there's a genuine affection between him and Spite, and the way he's saying, we filled them with slip between their clawing fingers, come on, Spite, and it goes away again because he just becomes wordy talking to himself. But for those two panels, there is more character to Malice Darkblade than there has been in a year of his comic.
That is, I'll give you that, but that is the thinnest of thin fucking gruel, mate.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's made it my favourite Malice Darkblade strip.
The problem is that there's no stakes to this.
No.
Because why is he so bothered about, again, I touched upon this, but he's so bothered about his soul because we don't see that there's any net difference to him. Now he no longer has a soul. Is he particularly devout? Does he not want to be... Will he become... When he dies, will he become Zarkan's property again, or something like that? There's not been a stake articulated as to why he needs to go after this demon again.
No. If you know the sort of metaphysics of Warhammer, it's if you don't have your soul, you are no longer the master of your own fate, and the demon can control you in some way or form. That's part of... But it's never explained in this comic. You would have to understand the Realm of Chaos books to know that.
And even then, it's not... That's, again, you're talking the Realms of Chaos as in pre the Warhammer Fantasy editions you're on now.
Yes, 100%, yeah.
So the vast majority of your target audience have no idea. So there's no real motivation other than I'm going after him because he's got my soul. We don't see, how has he got your soul exactly? There was no real... And probably something I should have picked before and had a go at is, you should have given me a visual representation of that. What has that done? What harm has that caused him?
Yeah.
There is nothing. It is just, the most generic of fetch quests.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, he's not even fetch questing, he's just dawdling.
Well, yeah, this is the problem with Book 2. It shocks me that I say Book 2 was worse than Book 1. Because all it is the same thing each month of, the orb is showing me something. I need to try and work out what it's trying to show me. Hey, I've worked it out.
It is the most a big criticism of UK comics used to always be, because they were very short installments, that they were more plot aimed than character. It was action and plot. And it's something that's borne out by most of the content in Warhammer Monthly, because, as I touched on last issue, with one or two exceptions, we're not really getting a lot of character being shown.
No.
And again, I think the mix of material has not been enough that you have a slower story with a bit more navel gazing. You can get away with that if you've got other dynamic stuff, because the whole point about an anthology is it should be a mix of different styles and different approaches. You're trying to appeal to as many people as possible. If everything's just a goddamn fetch quest, and you're just at various different points of said fetch quest, depending on how invested people are in terms of either the creators or maybe just because they like Space Marines or whatever that they'll pay up, you risk losing people.
Yeah.
Again, the art is fantastic. Kev Hopgood's one of those artists that when he was doing stuff, when he did Iron Man, because he's the first guy to do War Machine.
I didn't know that.
War Machine. So,
That's cool.
So he was on Iron Man. Remember, Iron Man at that point was not a big book.
No.
This is the X-Men are king, and then everyone else is so far behind in their wake, aside from maybe Spider-Man when Todd was on it, Ghost Rider for a bit, and Punisher, and that kind of thing in Marvel. But everyone else is just like, yeah, you're so far behind, it's not even funny.
When was Wetworks?
Wetworks would be 93, because that...
Yeah.
Because that's after Whilst Portaccio leaves Uncanny in 1992, with issue 290 being his last.
Mm-hmm.
He was originally going to be one of the founding Image partners, then turned it down. The big Image partners photo you see all the time from the early days is mostly a doctored one, because he's actually in the original.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, kids. He gets ill, though, and it delays the launch of Wetworks, because Wetworks is advertised in Wildcats issue 1.
Right.
Which came out in 1992. Kids, this is what happens when you read too much comics. You don't have social skills, but shit like this lives in your head. Yeah. Hopgood was on Iron Man, did 2000 AD stuff for, at that point as well, and obviously moved into a lot of fantasy stuff as well, but it's like, yeah, great, clean storyteller. He was only penciling Iron Man because the US model at the time was usually pencil or ink or what have you. Mm-hmm. But great artist. Again, the stuff on Darkblade's fantastic. The compositions. Book 1, there was a lot of dark, dingy stuff. One of the things about Book 2, which you notice, is a lot more open panels, a lot more white. The art's breathe. We're focusing more on the character rather than the whole image composition. It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah. He's got Malice himself down really nicely now. There's a strong design aesthetic for Malice. I'll rephrase that. Malice looks like Malice throughout. He's got the design of Malice down perfectly.
You become comfortable with the stuff the more you draw. I will say is the single best panel in it is the second last page of it, and it's one of the evil Dark Elves with the Onward Witchguard panel, just the close-up of his face and the render on the helmet. I really love that. It speaks to me.
Yeah, the shadow
that's kind of
down the face.
It's like a grey tone. There's shades of Philip Drouet in there.
Mm-hmm.
Lone Sloan for those. Look, kids, I don't just read shitty superhero comics. I do read good things as well. That culture has seeped in. And it just had shades of kind of the Drouet's illustrations in there, but obviously grey tone rather than full colour.
Yeah.
The panel of we joked about the Filmation creatures, but do you not think that the panel at the top half of that page, that straight out back, she's Lord of the Rings?
Oh, absolutely.
You could see what that feel.
No, now you say that. Absolutely, yeah. That's very Bakshi-ish. Bakshi-esque?
Yeah. Bakshi-esque.
Bakshi-esque.
No. But the art is lovely. It's gorgeous stuff. It does feel that, and again in this one, because he's not doing as much dark, it does feel he's gone back more to traditional art. I'm not. There may be some digital stuff in here, but it does feel very much that it's more inks and washes.
Some of the backgrounds are, I think, digital. When the Filmation Bakshi-ins start flapping along, the mountains, castles in the background look like they could very well be digital.
No, that looks to me a sponge.
Maybe.
Pink with just a white sponge. There's a great artist who's doing stuff just now. He does a lot of book covers, but he's started to do a comic series called Jeffrey Allen Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And all his stuff is basically...
Not to be confused with Jeffrey Chum.
No. Oh, that's Jeffrey Catherine Jones is the other one you want to be. But Jeffrey Allen Jones is doing... is it no, it's not Jones, sorry, it's Jeffrey Allen Love, sorry.
Right.
Get my name. It's notes from I got one of his fantasy books that he just did 1-page illustration, but it's black acrylic paint, and then it's just white spatters on it to build up levels and greys and stuff. It's beautiful stuff.
That's cool.
My co-host can add from it. I will tell you. I will give you Jeffrey. I love it. I'm talking. Let's say Jeffrey. I'm thinking confusing with other fantasy art. Jeffrey Catherine Jones, which was fantastic. He's doing news from the Fallout. His comic series. He's drawing. He's on the 3rd issue right now. That's just come out. It's mad post-apocalyptic stuff, but it's black and then it's just whites building up to greys. But he uses little decorative palettes and sponges and stuff to get the effects. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's cool.
I recommend Notes from the Shadowed City and The Thousand Demon Tree.
I will add them to my reading list.
It's Jeffrey Allen Love, so it's great stuff here. But he does a lot of work. Let's say, those things, it's just it will be masking tape or masking fluid over it to block out, and then it'll be a little bit of sprays or sponges and dabs. You can easily achieve that. Yeah, you can do it digitally, and it's quicker and less messy, but it's also, more importantly, less fun.
Also, as well, the orb is obviously digital as well.
Again, no, get airbrush around that.
You think?
Yeah. It's what happened before.
Okay. The orb, to me, looks like it was digitally then added in.
Could potentially be, but all of that can be airbrushed and painted over. So but it's all easy enough. But it's a case of no. You can all do that digitally, but more importantly, it's less fun. It's very much fun if you're doing a drawing and you're thinking, this is the bit where I get to just chuck random bits on a page for effect. Very fun.
So, moving on then. Next up, we have the Court of the Dark Prince. So, there's definitely another episode of Darkblade incoming.
Yes. Well, we've probably got about another 2, I think, because it's usually about 6.
True.
Again, I'm enjoying the art, but like I say, I don't even get angry about the story now. That's the thing. You look at it and go, it's like, yeah, it's there. I've got some pretty Kev Hopgood artwork to look at, but yeah.
It fills in some time before you get to the stuff that you want to read. So next up then we have an interview with Gordon Rennig, the hardest working man in Warhammer Monthly. I say that because Dan Abnett's maybe doing more strips, but the hit to miss ratio for Abnett's much, much higher than Rennig's.
So, and again, Gordon Rennie, another in a long line of dour Scotsman guiding your science fiction franchises. See, John Wagner, Judge Dredd, who he references a lot in this.
Yeah, I mean, the one I really like is there any character you wish you'd invented? I don't know, probably something like Spawn or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that went on to make the creators truly obscene amounts of money. I tell you like that. One hit like that and the comics biz won't see me for dust.
Yep.
I really like that as an answer.
What I love about the interview is it's actually so refreshing to have a writer not do the usual shite of whose work do you like? Oh, I love Neil Gaiman and so. And it's like, no, I like John Wagner, I like all these guys. And it's like, you're getting you have the feeling of genuine answers rather than I'm saying this because it's an interview and I need to give you the answers. Because he talks about being a film, and it's like, when he's talking about, obviously he's got his honours degree in film studies, and it's talking about, it's like, after 4 years of film studies, I've seen enough dull French art films to last a lifetime. Mainstream action movies for me.
Yeah. Well, there was another bit that I actually thought was really funny. And who are your favourite artists? Despite his appalling dress sense, Carl Kapinski. I'd quite like that Frank Quietly gets a mention here as well. Frank Quietly's Missionary Man, his art on Missionary Man was phenomenal.
I'm going to take you on a little bit of a history lesson, which I've kind of touched on in earlier someone talked about kind of the UK comics. So at the time, now I love him, to be fair, but Simon Bisley did a lot of damage, not through his own action, but everyone else's action to UK comics, because everybody and their dog tried to draw like him and to paint like him. Because it was when he came out with 2000, when he did the black and white stuff in ABC Warriors, like this is amazing. And everyone loved it. Yeah, and it's like, that's fine, because everything else was fine. He's on the bubble. When he does Slain and he does Dread and he's doing the fully painted stuff, like Judgment on Gotham, and everybody's like, we need to do like that, draw like that. And you had this slew of imitators and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Frank Whiteley, who cut his teeth on Scottish Underground comic Electric Soup, doing a pastiche on the Bruins, and his roots are clearly in the old style of UK comics in terms of like the Beano and Urwilly, the late.
Yeah.
You can see the Dudley D. Watkins and Frank's work. And so when Frank comes on and does Missionary Man, it's out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's nicely painted, but it's watercolour, it's muted. He doesn't do any of the big. There's none of the hyper muscle Bisley stuff. It's hard to explain how much of a breath of fresh air that was in terms of you've got some, and it's one of these things that when I remember seeing you knew he was going to be big. Even I remember picking up the first part of Missionary Man in Dread magazine, and it was just like, well, that's something. I was not expecting that. There's not a huge amount of rendering or overly elaborate detail. The storytelling is so on point, and you're like, oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful. And he didn't hang around 2000 AE for a huge length of time. He did the Missionary Man stuff, did covers for the Dread reprint, the Complete George Dread.
Yeah.
All very couple of covers for the books. Because we're doing Flex Mentalo with Morrison over at Vertigo.
That's it. Oh, nothing but love for that.
There's a very nice hardcover, but if you're a fan of it, do yourself a favour, track down the original colouring.
Mm-hmm.
It does actually work better.
Yeah.
For what it is. I know the creators all prefer the modern take that was redone. I think it was Pete Doherty redid his own stuff. But yeah, I think the original stuff has a bit more pop in certain places.
Yeah.
But then Frank Whiteley dotters about, and then obviously Authority, and then X-Men, next level success bit.
Yeah.
Is it amazing?
But it's weird, because I've never liked his X-Men stuff, and I've never quite put my finger on what it is that I don't like about it. But everything else he's done, just really enjoyed.
Love his X-Men stuff. The essential work for Frank Whiteley in terms of art is All-Star Superman.
Yes.
The essential book you need to read, though, is with Grant Morrison, which is We 3.
We 3 is something else, yeah.
It's basically Homeward Bound meets RoboCop.
Yeah.
And if you can make it through the book without shedding a tear, you're a monster.
You are dead inside. There's no way around it.
I was welling up reading it a bit. His dog good will break you.
Yeah. But I remember getting We 3 actually from the comic shop way back when.
Yeah.
And it's one of those ones where I've got it. I will probably never read it again because I don't think I'm made of strong enough stuff. It's absolutely phenomenal work.
Yeah. Again, but the storytelling in it, just some of the things he does in terms of trying to represent what a cat's visual senses would depict in terms of a fight, and the panel layout for it's just amazing.
Yeah, out of this world stuff.
There's it used to be on iPlayer. If you can track it down, it's What Artists Do All Day, and there's an episode on Frank Whiteley.
Oh, cool.
And he shows you behind the scenes. And it's just when he's starting to do Jupiter's Legacy with Mark Miller, the Coatbridge Headlaw. It upsets me that there's so much that he's written that Frank Whiteley's drawn, and you feel compelled to pick up because it's new Whiteley art, and it's such a mere mortal, you get it.
Yeah.
But he shows you how he achieved some of the We3 stuff and the bits behind it. It's great.
Cool.
It also will tell you how little glamour there is if you want to be a comic artist. Beautiful talk, but we sidetrack. But it's nice that he calls out as a Quickly there, and he's obviously talking about Kapinski's his favourite artist at the moment, and talks, as I've touched on when we talk about this, is he's talking about how he works with the artists in terms of draw up their strengths, who does Action Machine. He mentioned Simon Davis, who's the then current Missionary Man illustrator, and he talks about the art looks like it's literally rotting off the page, so it's excellent for undead, and you try to avoid things they don't handle well, and bear in mind. He talked about one of the best things he talked about, what I talked about the last episode. It's like, well, it takes a minute or two to glibly write the panel description of a scene calling for a massive battle with thousands of participants and war machines, tanks, titans, whatever. It takes the artist considerably longer to draw. It is that thing of, it's an unlimited budget, technically in terms of what you can put on the page, but the budget that you have is time in comics.
Yes.
And it's... He talks about it. But like I said, the interview is best because it does actually feel like you aren't getting puff piece from him. He's actually just giving you answers.
Yeah, and it's absolutely fantastic having this kind of interview in here. And there's a bit which I thought was really interesting. The question gets asked: the first series of Blood Quest is due out shortly as a graphic novel. Do you think comics work better that way? And he responds with, "I've written it, and you can tell that Colin McNeil was enjoying himself tremendously by the time he got to the last 3 episodes and all the stuff about the Orc Space Hulk." Now, that kind of mirrors something that we were saying at the time, that it takes Colin McNeil a little while to fully get the style of Blood Quest down, but once he gets there, it absolutely rockets.
It's the same for any creative team as if you read any sort of anything where there's multiple creators involved. Because obviously, like, manga tends to be more or less one person doing most of the heavy lifting. But if you're looking at the US and UK comics, if you've got a different writer and a different artist, they will always take time to mesh. And that can sometimes be... There's no set formula to it, but you generally watch. And it's a good rule of thumb, if you're doing an ongoing tale, give them about... If the artist here takes the story's there, you'll find about 3 to 5 issues in, they'll click. And you will see a change. You might see bits of it throughout, but you'll be a moment where you just go, oh, leveled up. The inker suddenly knows what the penciler's doing. The penciler knows what the inker's going to do and leans into that. So everyone leans into what everyone else does.
Mm-hmm.
By that point, because you've already seen what they produced, so you can see, oh right, that's how it is. Let's go in and move. But yeah, as we said, it's like I enjoyed Blood Quest from the start, but
yeah.
I disagree with some of Adam's criticism. But it's very clear, partway through, bang, it clicks, and woofed.
Yeah,
it picks up. And
no, it really did. There's a bit we've talked about Colin McNeil's art here, which made me chuckle. It's wait till he sees the big naval battle I've written for episode 4. A whole bunch of rival Chaos War fleets battling out on a sea of living blood. Ha! That'll show him. And it just reminds me of that panel from a couple of years, well, longer than a couple of years ago now. And it's the writer talking about it costs the same to do 2 people talking as it does to do an entire space fleet in battle. The artist just turns around, I'll kill you! So, as interviews go, especially ones in Warhammer Monthly, this is a really, really good one. The amount of character, you get a good feel of who Gordon is.
As I said, what it feels like it is, you're getting genuine answers, you're not getting the rehearsed piece that you see from a lot of interviews with writers and artists, to be fair.
There's a great one here. Who played Leonatus in the movie, and how about Cal and Scabs? Oh, I don't know, somebody with a strong chin and a good profile so they can do all that noble Blood Angel angst. You could probably do a lot worse than Liam Neeson. He played Lancelot in John Bowman's Excalibur, didn't he? So we all know he looks good in a big suit of armour. The ever-foppish Cal would have to be Richard E. Grant, and since Cal and Scabs are based on Blackadder and Baldric, oops, another inspiration source revealed, then you might as well get Tony Robinson to play Scabs. Well, either him or Michael J. Pollard. Well, late 90s Richard E. Grant as Cal Jericho. It might not... Probably wouldn't work, but it'd be worth seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't quite see it. Just...
No.
He doesn't quite have... He's got the roguish quality.
He's not rough enough.
Yeah, there's a... Yeah, not quite. But I can see that, again, in comics, but that's the thing, is in comics you always have to make your characters a bit more square-jawed and a bit that anyway, so you kind of... I imagine the development of Jericho is probably closer to Richard E. Grant than what we actually get on the page.
Yeah. When I was reading this last night, I was thinking to myself, do I add a part to the show where we start casting people from the comic? And thought, nah, it's all right. We won't do that.
Yeah.
So it's got a cat sliding off my lap here. There we go. Yeah.
And talks about Cal coming about and just says when he was asked to pitch stories, is like, he wanted to do the Necromunda series because the setting is similar to Meg City 1 in 2000 AD. It's like, you've got a backdrop you can set anything against.
Yeah, plague zombies, seas of toxic sludge, giant mutant spiders, high-tech hunter killers, instantly suggested a whole heap of stories. I do like the fact that he didn't want to do Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, he talks about quite clearly, it's like, the 40k is a bleak and cheerless place, so you want something a bit light-hearted. So it's like, and it's true, it's like you make it the contrast, and it's like, And it's like that, and that was the start of Cal Jericho comic strip character, sellout limited edition miniature, and soon to be major motion picture of multiplex near you. It wouldn't matter if it was multi-million selling, James Workshop wouldn't have given you a dime, Gordon.
No, unfortunately. Although saying that, at this point, maybe he was still...
Oh yeah, this is before you... So this before you might have had a slightly more favourable deal in terms of royalties and rights and what have you, but yeah.
I am annoyed, though, that as far as I know, he's never done the Warhammer Fantasy Pirate story, and I want to see that.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, he never did it, but I'm hoping against hope that at some point we get Gordon Rennie's Warhammer Fantasy Pirates.
Yeah. The old world pirates, it would be.
Yeah. That's very much up my wheelhouse. Yeah. Desperately want that. Should we move on to Blood Quest?
Yes, so the reason for the tease interview is clearly because Blood Quest Part 2 is here. So we have our first page. So before we go into any of the story, it's very clear from the first page we're having a massive change in art style from Colin McNeil.
Yeah.
So we are going with lots of ink washes here. So still black and white, but we are getting gloriously rendered ink washes and watercolours, and it's beautiful.
It's phenomenal, is what it is. Yeah, it is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. McNeil has rammed up the oomph factor, and he's created something. It's still obviously Blood Quest. You know, the base design, so to speak, hasn't changed. The bones of it are still the same, but it's just been taken to such an extreme, and it looks incredible.
Well, in the interview, Gordon calls out the art and basically says it's the best, some of the best that Colin has done since, and calls out specifically two of his most prominent works up to that point, which were Song of the Surfer, which is the chop book, and Judge Dredd America.
Yeah.
Both absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And
I would say, this might well be on par with America. It's just beautiful. It's just genuinely beautiful. I mean, we'll get to the script and everything in a minute, but Christ almighty, just look at it. This is okay to me in a way that the comic kind of doesn't quite hit a lot of the time.
Yes, you're basically, the opening page is just, you're on Baal, because we're being told that, and we're at the Blood Angels Fortress Monastery, so it's a big, massive, gothic, cathedral-looking building. You know the type. There's planes going, or Thunderbolt fighters, or whatever they will be, flying over. We go into the halls, and it's Commander Dante being flanked by Chief Librarian Mephiston, and they're basically, he's telling them that Leonatus and his crew are back, and now it's 12 years after they left, and it's like, Dante's asking, do they have the blade in Carmine? They fulfilled their oath to never to return, they recommend it, and Mephiston's like, in time. Theirs is a long tale, and there's much to be heard and understood before its end can be revealed. Insufferable League prick narrator. At this point, you want to turn round and go, it's interesting to notice that Dante doesn't appear to be... Dante's in just robes and not in actual any armour.
Yes.
So not in a typical jump back with the death mask of Sanguinius type thing. So he's dwarfed by Mephiston, but at that point you're going to go, oh, who's Chapter Master? And who is your Chief Librarian? Sort the fucking books out and tell me what the fuck is going on. But you see a Space Marine pauldron in the shop of clearly one of Leonatus' crew. And it's interesting to see that it's riveted, studded, with a Blood Angel marking put on it, but clearly that's not marked now.
No, it is not. It's not. That's Mark 3.
Or something, so...
Yeah.
And then you then see Dante looking at a figure who's standing in the shadows, and there's another figure in the shadows as well, but even more shadowed.
Yes.
We'll see more of him later. We're not getting him just now. You're getting one shadow. And he goes, well, Blood Angel, if that's truly what you still are, Lord Mephiston informs me that you have a tale to tell. And the figure steps out a little bit and he goes, a tale, Lord Dante? Aye, if you wish to call it that. A tale of madness, of horror and sacrifice and betrayal, battles against daemons and things worse than daemons. It is a grim tale with an ending that may not please all of its listeners, but it's the only one I have to tell. And it's like, and the story, where does it begin? Where else could such a story begin, my lord? So, you're starting to see the blood, one of them, and he's clearly wearing a hodgepodge of armour.
Yeah.
And not the one...
Such a good job in making sure that you don't really know who it is.
And it's scavenged, cobbled together armour with a tattered and grubby cloak with a Blood Angel's cloak on it.
Mm-hmm.
Figure wearing a hood, no helmet. There's a scraggly hair and a beard.
Yep.
There's teeth and trinkets and skulls around his neck.
And the fact that he's not wearing proper power armor either is such a cool image. There's a story being told here very, very distinctly that this is somebody who has been through the wars.
Again, it's the old adage of show don't tell. You don't need to. I mean, he does this thing about this has been a horrible tale, but he doesn't say woe is me, what difficulties have I had. It's just what he's wearing tells you enough. It's like they've had to scavenge and scrap and get through and make do as best they can, and it has not been easy.
No, it's take my hat off to it. Like visual storytelling at its finest.
And we get our big splash page and title page. And so where was it? Well, where else but the Eye of Terror? So we see from where we left last time, which is the battle barge of the ship of the Blood Angels pursuing the creature.
Mm-hmm.
A gorgeous sort of wormhole with teeth.
Yeah, one of the things I really love about this page is that the battle barge isn't straight on. It's coming in at an angle. Now,
this is why when we were talking about Darkblade and you were talking about the orb digital, this is why it's not. I know Colin McNeil didn't do digital. This is all on the board.
Yeah.
And that's what you can do. Like I say, with simple inks, washes, brushes, sponges, paints. I say this is what you could do. It's what you can do if you're good.
Yeah, if you are at the top of your game.
If your skills are not up to the level of Colin McNeil, of which few people can say they are. Myself included, by the way. So, Blood Quest 2, script by Gordon Rennie, art Colin McNeil, and letters by Fiona Stevenson. It's the Eye of Terror. It's a big wormhole with teeth. And inside we have Leonatus. Armour's taken a little bit of a dent. He's missing a feather on the eagle. And he's basically just saying, get the shields to maximum, keep us hidden in the warp wake of the Chaos vessel.
My lord, this is madness. The Gellerfield is becoming unstable. No Imperial vessel can survive the forces within the Eye of Terror. We must withdraw while there is still time. Never. Not while our quest is incomplete. As long as there is a chance of winning back the sword, then we go on. You get a little explanation of what the Gellerfield is.
Yep. Basically, it's the MacGuffin that basically stops things dying from real space when they go into the warp, or the immaterium. And, as you can imagine, tendrils of energy, psychic and demonic, surround the astropath, or navigator, but he's an astropath, because that's what they are. His blood starts pouring from his eyes, and optic thing, and it cracks.
And tentacle things shadow in his eyes, and you see the capillaries in his eyes start to burst.
Because...
Oh my god.
Because I don't think we kind of explained it, but if you're not, for anyone who's just interested in the comic and isn't familiar with 40k lore, is to navigate the warp, it's all done through psychic beacons.
Yes.
So
you have the race of human mutants called navigators who are able to see through the warp. Now, this guy isn't a navigator because he doesn't have a third eye, which is usually hidden by a bandana. So you're absolutely right. He's probably an astropath. But
it's still the same thing. The astropath would serve the navigator function anyway. But you lock on to psychic beacons, and that's how you find your way to checkpoints in through warp space.
Yes.
Which is why, so you basically, if you've got psychic abilities in the 41st millennium, you have two choices. You'll become a navigator/astropath, or you'll be fed to the Emperor.
Mm-hmm. Well, you join the astropathic choir, or you are fed to the Emperor. Navigators themselves are a breed apart. Imperium-sanctioned mutants who have a third eye that allows them to see through the warp. There is a slight difference between an astropath and a navigator. But as I say, this guy doesn't have the third eye, which is usually hidden by a bandana. He is very much an Admech-style looking guy, so he is an astropath or something similar.
But yes, so tendrils of demonic energy start erupting everywhere. It does not look good for them, and Cloten goes to the life pods. We must abandon ship. And Leonidas goes and face only madness and slow death adrift on the currents of the warp. It's like, no, if we must die, we die here, fighting to the death as Blood Angels should. And he just starts shooting at the demonic tendrils with his bolt gun. There's a face in it coming out, so it's clearly a demonic entity of some point.
Yeah. Or the creature of the id from Forbidden Planet.
Yeah, potentially, actually.
I do like the fact that we fought, but it was useless. Yes, because you're shooting the warp with a gun.
Yeah. Or it could just be like Metal Demon Krang.
You could...
Krang gone metal.
I hate the fact that I was about to do a Krang Sings Metal, and the first thing that came to my head was just... a bit of corn for you.
But, so, the tendrils of energy encircle them, pull them away one by one. It does not go well. But, as it's only page 1, we know what's happening is that they won't all be died. They won't all die. It's like, one by one we were swallowed up into the darkness. So they're consumed by the big demon beast. And then they awoke. Again, days or even years later, they don't know, because time does not pass in the warp in the same way as it does in the real world, which is why there are Chaos Space Marines from the Horus Heresy who will step out of the Eye of Terror, and this will be the first time they've been out since the Heresy, so days have passed, whereas 10,000 years have passed for the Imperium of Man.
Yeah. Depending on where you are or which direction you're facing, changes how much time will pass in the real world.
So they find themselves in some kind of demon world, which they'll tell us later on, but just for ease of it, I'm telling you now. It's a big demon world. They're inside a big mountain that has a big face.
Yeah.
All teeth and tentacles.
How awesome is that mountain? God damn it.
Colin McNeil draws the shit out of this.
Oh, he really does. I'm trying my best. I mean, the fact that sequence where they all get swallowed by the demonic entity in the warp, and just that black with just the glowing light reflecting off things is how you get to see the shape of it. It's fucking hell.
And it's also not even glowing, it is just plain white. That's the only bit of probably paper you can actually see.
Yeah.
That's what you can do with black and white art. And again, in the hands of a maestro. So they're trapped on this world, and he goes, well, the ship and the rest of its crew, nothing. He's like, I can only assume they were destroyed in the warp. Neither do we know where we are. I sent the scout novices, Proteus and Lysander to find a way out of here. It's like, yeah, that's going to go well for you. And one of them comes to the cave that they're in, just goes, Liege Captain Leonidas, come quickly. And they're drawn by sounds of battle and blood. Someone smells the blood of the scent of freshly spilled blood. Tainted and polluted to be sure, but still blood. Just your little bit of a thing that's like, Cloten's got the black rage / thirst. And again, just a little subtle bit of reminding you that without having to say blood, Cloten is our brother Cloten is tainted with
Yes, as you know, Commander, Brother Cloten it's just done little bit here and there just to remind you this is where the story is. It tells you a little bit about the sanguinary priests, gives a various definition of damnation. Damnation is to die without purpose to the Emperor. Damnation is what awaits those now blood-cursed brethren in the Tower of Adon. And I now know that none of these things are true. And you get the face of Eidolon. Words fail me. What you've got here in this lower third of the page, it's phenomenal.
It's a battlefield where you're seeing massive siege engines, mountains of skulls, titans of all various descriptions, chaos versions, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Just carnage everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's one of these things that is carnage, but it's still readable and parsable, which is kind of a tricky thing to get. You're seeing there's a lot of white to show the explosions and fiery deaths. Which are just giving the rest of it room to breathe. You're seeing war bands just fighting and killing each other.
Yeah. Just this giant leg off to one side. The scale that's being shown here is unbelievable.
Some big Chaos version of an Imperator Titan, hopefully.
I mean, my favourite thing as well is there's a Chaos Squat land train just tootling around there. It's like, oh my god.
And it's the range of weapons as well, because you can see the big massive crossbow at the left-hand side. And if you look at the actual battle scene, is the Chaos Warriors are all fighting with melee weapons. There's not actually any art to show any discharging of guns or projectile weapons. They've all got swords and blunt instruments.
Yeah, it's
in contrast with these siege towers and Titans with their weapons shooting death. Just S-love.
It's incredible. It's genuinely incredible, and it gets the Blanchian nature of Chaos so perfectly. Without copying what Blanche was doing or what Ian Miller was doing, it's so obviously this is a planet of Chaos. It is incredible work, absolutely incredible.
Yep, and Leonatus tells the scout, you asked where we are, Drano, here we are. It's like we're on a Daemon world within the Eye of Terror, far from the light of the Emperor. And it's like, then we failed, we've no ship and we're trapped here, our quest is over. Nope, Cloten's about to go mad.
No, never over, never failure. We are Blood Angels, sons of Sanguinius. We do not fail, we do not submit. As long as there are enemies before us, our duty always remains clear.
And he just jumps off the cliff top, down into the face of battle with his power axe in hand and power fist in hand.
He's just going to punch his way to freedom.
And why's the madman got a better weapon loadout than your captain?
What happened to Clotus's jump pack? I'm sure he had a jump pack at one point.
I'm assuming he took it off at one point now, that's been lost. So they're trapped in the Eye of Terror, so whatever happened, they're going to have to fight their way out. And they're going to have to go and bail Cloten out to avoid him, dying or succumbing entirely to the Black Rage / Red Thirst.
Mm-hmm.
To be continued.
This is great. This is absolutely top-notch stuff.
Right. So, Adam, what's the best art that's been in Warhammer so far?
This.
This,
100% this. Without any shadow of a doubt, this.
As I said, Colin McNeil draws the shit out of this.
He really does. It's the difference between here and where Blood Quest began. And I know that you were always more favourable to Blood Quest at the beginning than I was.
Yep.
I'm always happy to say I'm wrong. The evolution that this strip has taken has elevated. That's the word I'm after. Has elevated it to something else. This is incredible.
Colin McNeil during it has basically a couple of different distinctive styles he will deploy. The fully painted stuff that you'll see in Judge Dredd America and you saw on the covers. There is what he does now in terms of his black and white. He will do either that stuff still, depending on the strip, or not quite what early Blood Quest did, but something akin to, there's a bit more heavy black in it. Shades of Mike Mignola in terms of a lot more heavy spotted blacks. So and he will just flip between these three styles depending on the tail he's in. Stuff's fantastic. If you want to see more of this painted stuff, I think it was Maelstrom was the series in 2000 AD. I will just, while my co-host pads and talks about how amazing it is, I will just do a little checking for you. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head.
One of the things I absolutely love about this is that the Marauders, so to speak, they are from Warhammer Fantasy Battle. You're not seeing Space Marines fighting here. These are Chaos Warriors and Beastmen from the old world that are having a battle down here. There's shields lying around as well as the dead. It is perfect. Absolutely goddamn perfect.
Yes, Insurrection was the series. Again with Warhammer Monthly alumni Dan Abnett.
Ah, yes. Dan Abnett continuously works on everything, for good or for ill.
Oh, it's the good Dan Abnett.
Good.
The Dan Abnett we like.
It's weird, I am struggling to discuss this in any way that isn't, like, this is 15 out of 10 work. This is absolutely incredible. And I'm annoyed at myself for the those first few issues where I could not get on with it, because this has become something else. This is as close to perfect, I think, as Warhammer Monthly can get. This is insanely good. And, there's no bit falling down here. The script is perfect. It is getting everything moving. It's getting all the pieces in place. It's telling a story through very little explanation. You are getting everything that you need. It's all there between the lines. The artwork tells the rest of the story. It pulls so much of the eye. Just looking at all these different areas, everything from the small two heads talking through to this absolutely immense battle scene, which it blows my mind.
And also gives you a couple of hooks to be questioning at the start, which is kind of, because as I say, you're not getting a huge amount of in-depth character work on this. This is still plot, action, adventure. But what you're getting there is, okay, 2 of them made it back. We don't know which 2. There's more than 2 here, and we still don't know if they brought the blade back. You're assuming yes, but you're also at the same time going, is there something else that justified them coming back without the blade?
Yeah.
There's also 12 years have passed, so we've got some wiggle room to play with who it is, and it's not abundantly clear who either of the characters are.
No. They're so far removed from the characters that we've seen in BloodQuest, and the characters as they're shown in the story as it's being told, that you can't tell who it is. And that's such a smart way of doing it. Even the armour, because the armour's so far removed from being Space Marine, it's impossible to tell.
It's a perfect strip to contrast with Darkblade, because it works along similar lines. It is a fetch quest if you actually break it down to its basic component. But there's mystery and there's questions I need to ask. The material is given me that I would like answers for.
Yes.
There's none of that in Darkblade, because the questions I have are stuff that they've not actually explained.
Yeah.
That I need for the story to work. These are questions that arise as a result of the story they're looking to tell. If I have to ask questions about the material for the story mechanics to work, you've done something wrong.
Yes.
Here's the question coming up, because we're presenting in such a way, but we're giving you some questions as a result of the material that's been and what's coming, and let's see if you can figure them out.
Yeah, and the story as being presented is going to be the unveiling of these mysteries, and I'm genuinely, I am excited to find out where this goes and how the story takes place.
I only have the vaguest of vague memories, and I'm fairly certain I remember who the 2 are.
Okay, I don't.
Now, do we want to guess now?
I'm going to guess that it's Leonatus and Cloten.
You're half right, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Is I think Lysander and Cloten. I don't think we're back. That's my guess. So we'll see where right we are in 5 or 6 episodes.
Yep. Episode
I definitely
22.
think Cloten's one of them back.
Yes.
Cloten is definitely.
I for some reason, I think Cloten's, because he's got the Black Rage, he's got a cannot kill button on him.
I think so. I think he's the one behind. I think the one that's speaking is Lysander.
Okay. Alright.
I don't think we're seeing Cloten. I think it's Lysander and Cloten that is. Let's see. I have a vague memory that is. I couldn't tell you who it is for certain, apart from knowing that I'm pretty much 100% certain it's definitely not Leonatus.
Okay. I suppose that's
Because
the thing, isn't it? You're given just enough of the black hair to maybe think it's Leonatus, but that would make sense. Did somebody read 300 at some point?
Yeah.
True.
300 is only just. No, in fact, no, it's been out by about a year by this point.
Yeah, I was just trying to work out. It's like, when did 300 come out? But yeah, about 97, wasn't it?
The 97 through into 98, I think.
Oh,
but yeah, so. Yes.
Yeah, it is phenomenal. And I know I keep using that word. It's absolutely amazing, and genuinely, I'm excited to get more BloodQuest. Which, when we started this little project off, I didn't think would be something I'd be saying.
Glad to have you on board.
I'll put my hand up. I'm wrong. I'm always happy to admit when I'm wrong.
That's the thing is, and just because we're taking the piss here. There is no right or wrong. It's just this. Again, I can see why the story maybe didn't quite grab Adam to start with, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. These are, again, just to stress, entirely opinion based.
Of course, and seeing the evolution of Blood Quest and how it gets to this point has been fascinating to me. Genuinely fascinating. That you've taken something that maybe wasn't meant to be black and white to start with, or maybe wasn't quite fully baked in to begin with, and working with it, and the artist and author working together have created something which is spectacular. It's really good to see. Really, really good to see. It does my little cold heart, black heart proud. I'm happy.
I mean, it's the perfect antidote for last issue.
Yeah.
Which makes me weep at next issue. Because you've enjoyed Blood Quest? Well, you still only have to wait a month, but you're going to have to wade through some shite first.
Well, we don't know that. Maybe the next the Redeemer Summer Special is going to be readable.
I think maybe he's doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
Oh, but should we get on to some Ragnar's Rock?
Yep, we're going to go to Ragnar's Rock, which is by the Inquisitor team of Dan Abnett, Simon Colby, and Gordon Robson.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one that you've got exactly the same team doing something that isn't Inquisitor when Inquisitor hasn't finished. But... And
also, slight spoiler, once this tale is done, the exact same team's story Inquisitor's picking up. So from a placement in the magazine, in the comic, bad editor.
Yeah.
You want your anthology to let stuff breathe, where it's... And again, as we'll come to. So basically, you're getting a tale narrated by somebody saying that Ragnar's Rock has stood since before his people came to the valley. It's old, say the legends, old as the rock, as the moons. Other legends say the darkest of the gods was born here uncounted years ago. His midwife threw his call away and it became Schreigenpike. They say his birth sobs still echo around the pass. Some say the walls are strong to keep out harm. Others say to keep it in. Now, you're seeing a big, massive fortress Gothic tower and some men with spears going towards it in the distance.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Where are they from?
It does feel very, and it's very deliberate as we'll come to this. It's like here's your villagers going to find. It does have the villagers going to get Frankenstein vibe.
Yeah.
There's no threat here as of yet because no one's ever lived at Ragnar's Rock in the time of his people. No one's ever been inside, and today they're following Trousa. A week ago, his plough brought this strange key up from the flinty fields. Trousa knew straight away it was the key to Ragnar's Rock.
Because magic things...
He's holding up a dirty big key.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that key was hidden in a field is just like, how did that not break a plough?
Yeah, but you're also like, did he even have a plough? He did say he had a plough, I suppose, but it's like, so we're setting this up. This is a very agrarian, low-tech, medieval civilization, but the key's an interesting point to look at right off the bat.
Yes, it is.
Because it's it's keyish as such, but you'll know. But it's got two basically sets of teeth.
Yep,
So you're kind of going. It's ostensibly trying to tell you it's somewhere primitive, so you're immediately meant to think this is Warhammer Fantasy.
Yes.
There's nothing immediately to put you to that. And so he puts the key in the lock and the doors swing back the way. The darkness inside is clotted and old. The air is full of dry stains that used to be smells.
That's
very nice. And dust everywhere. So they're going through tunnels, but this is your first bit of, no, there's pipework here. This is kind of at least Victorian style things. Which again, can have a little touch of that in Warhammer, so you can kind of go, oh, is this still playing it sort of low key? And they walk and stumble for hours, become hopelessly lost in the narrow, snaking passageways. Stummin starts to whimper about turning back. Then ahead, Trousa spies a light, and again they're holding braziers that are alight. And we reach a throne room of sorts, lit by a pale glow. So you've got And this is the first bit where you go, we're not in fantasy.
No, we're not.
The throne is there's a level of industrial engineering to it, so it's not overtly technological, but it's clearly not a fantasy era engineered.
Yeah, this isn't dwarven.
And there is a spiked crown of sorts on a basically held aloft and on some kind of set of devices near where the throne is. So Tronsa's captivated by the crown and he gabbles, "I will be king, I will be emperor lord." So the narrator's like, "I've always admired Tronsa's confidence," and he puts on the crown. And when you get a slightly closer look at the crown, yep, that's actually technology. There's bits in here for this.
Mm-hmm.
And so he pops it on his head, and then just goes, "What is that?" And then energy starts to go from his eyes, he starts to scream, and lots of veins appear in his neck. And then our narrator just goes, "The floor shakes, hot wind gusts around us, and there's a deep rumble. And I realise what we've done. We have woken Ragnar's Rock."
Because Ragnar's Rock stands up.
Yes, so the towers and battlements start to move up the top, and you start to see a big, angry, horned face.
Mm-hmm.
Ragnar's Rock is a Chaos Imperator Titan.
Yes.
And he does what all good Chaos Imperator Titans do when he wakes up, starts shooting the shit out of everything.
Has no actual target, just lays waste to the surrounding area.
And you get the postscript to this is a panel showing in space, and the text is a memo from the Archmagos Gehenna. It's a message to them from a captain about sensors have picked up firestorms on a primitive outland world.
Previously known as a non-industrial, low-technology world with an indigenous population of subsistence farmers, suggest investigation a priority. As a one and done, this is great, isn't it?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because you're questioning right off the bat. The minute the key comes in, you're like, nah.
See, my question started earlier because the way that he's dressed, he is obviously not of Warhammer Old World. It might have been a Marauder, from that kind of area. It might have been Nautican, but it just didn't fit right. So that's kind of what threw me to begin with. But all in all, it's a one and done with a great ending.
Yep, we've got a big angry Chaos Imperator Titan.
Mm-hmm. But it's the type of thing that you could only do with Warhammer, and I think it's a really important point to get onto. A lot of what we've had in the one and done stories, they could be almost anything. The Bretonnian going out to fight the Chaos Knights, that could be anything. It's a really good story because you know Warhammer, you can play the shorthand very, very easily, but it could be a knight going out to fight, D&D goblins or whatever, however you want to do it. This is quintessentially a Warhammer 40k story that could only be done in 40k because no one else has got the Imperial Titan. It's nice to see.
And also Plastic One, which is basically just like, because the modern, the slightly more attempts to reinvent it and make it. So no, it's just a big church on legs with guns.
Yep. Gun church.
A lot of Imperator Titan because they're just ridiculous.
Yeah, same.
It's one of the things that as Games Workshop files off all the rough edges and the things that loses the charm. This is what you want, and this is what I want. I want a big evil metal church with guns.
Yep. Yeah, and a big cat power claw.
Yeah.
That's just holding what appears to be part of a forest. Yeah. Get it up to the 14th degree. Make it as insane as you can, and that's what you get into. The fact that these people are so backward, for want of a better term. They're so removed from the technology of the universe as a whole, of the rest of the Imperium. These things don't instantly make you go, well, what is that? Yeah, he sees it as a crown and puts it on.
Rather than being the sort of control circuits for the
Imperiata. It's a really well made, really well done one and done tale. I'm a big fan of this. And that goes without saying, of course, artwork, gorgeous.
Simon Colby, we've loved his stuff. Again, been a strong hitter since he came into the book. Sadly, this issue somewhat eclipsed by Colin McNeil drawing the shit out of things.
That's going to be the name of this. It's going to be Colin McNeil. Issue 17, Colin McNeil draws the shit.
No, the shit out of this.
The shit out of this, yeah. Oh, man. Beautiful.
So but again, we're treated, we've got a double dose of the creative team, because turn the page and you're on to Inquisitor.
Yep, and I do like the fact that there is a slight difference in the way it looks. The Ragnar's Rock, it's...
There's a few more heavy spotted blacks on that one. Darker ones to kind of do it, which, again, suits the story. Doesn't really suit where he is in Inquisitor, but again, as I mentioned, just when you're putting this book together, if I'm doing two separate stories but I've got the same creative team and neither have anything to do with each other, put them further apart.
100%. This One and Done should have been the first story in the book. First story, then Darkblade, then you have the interview with Gordon Rennie, then you have Blood Quest, then you finish with Inquisitor. That would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah. So we're in chapter 6 of book 1, The Taint of Nicodemus. It's not as funny now. It's ran its course.
Still makes me chuckle, especially when it's
a little. So you've got obviously DeFay and Gravier are there with the Cardinal, and it turns out that the line of Mathalis have set a trap. The Cardinal has been ensnared by them, and they're about to go and kill everyone. At which point, you've got a close-up of DeFay, and he's just going, so, the tainted clan of Mathalis have set a trap for me. I have just one question. Who's first? He's standing there, you've got some of them in the foreground, Gravier's got a pistol up, and you can see the shadows of all the tentacles and monstery-looking things in the background. Again, it's your hero badass pose. I do not give a shit about you guys. I think I'm going to beat you all.
I'm not asked, you're all dead. Yes. There is a time and a place for 80s action movie moments, and this is exactly that time and place. Made me so happy with that. It's one of those things where that kind of dialogue can land with a deft tone. It can land with a bit of a clang. But it's done so well here. I can't help but smile. It's like, yeah, the shit's going down.
So basically, the monster family just go, yeah, you DeFay, you, and he. So while the fight scene goes on, his pupil Gravier is narrating and just bringing you back up to speed. So definitely catching up. So again, remembering the old adage that every comic is potentially someone's first issue. So you're up to speed right off the bat in terms of where you are. You just need to know, bad guys are monsters, these guys aren't, they're out to go and kill them.
Yep.
Now, the Cardinal is already a captive of the enemy. Now, going to come to this, because developments. So the Cardinal's the most interesting bit in this, even in this tale, despite barely being in. And Gravier, as he's narrating, basically saying, without help or aid, it seemed little chance of him and his master living to see the dawn. The fight's going on, it's nice and chaotic, but you can still parse the fault. Like I say, it's a trick to try and make a chaotic scene still readable, but still feel chaotic.
Yes.
Because when you're doing fight scenes, they can kind of, particularly with multiple participants, if you're doing like a one-on-one fight, it's fine, because it's the comic equivalent of doing the sex scene. No, really, that's basically what it is your money shot type thing, but when you're doing the big group battles where you've got multiple, it's keeping positions, keeping where people are relative to each other, keeping that consistent, also still trying to suggest things are frenetic, but still being able for me to read, or anyone to read and understand the image. It is a very difficult skill to master.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly hard to do. I've tried myself doing group shots more than once, like action group shots, and they are, I will take a cityscape. I will take drawing a cityscape over an action group shot. I
mean, there are cheats and there are ways you can do it, and it's also about just picking your emphasis and where you go. But you still have to every now and then give the money a shot in terms of the big stramash, so people get a sense of what it is. So, Gravier earns his keep by shooting a demon-looking member of the family who breaks through the door just as he's about to attack DeFay, who was unaware. He's like, my thanks, pupil, your aim is good. Now go help the Cardinal, I'll guard your back. Go, Gravier, go. And so he goes in with his bolt. So he saves the Cardinal, who looks like he's fighting. And the Colonel goes, good boy, hurry now and we can escape to our transport. At which point Graver's like, my master, who will save him?
Yeah, an entire conversation. This is wrong, Cardinal. I must go back. The Inquisitor needs me. If we go back, we all die. Then we die. Are we not servants of the Emperor? Are we not charged to giving our lives combating the curse of chaos? I am
He
ashamed.
raises an eyebrow.
Yes.
No. He raises an eyebrow first. You will put the proper respect on the storytelling. Don't you jump into that before he gives the eyebrow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Insertion, I don't.
Yeah.
It's very much, he's one of those, is he? Unbeliever. And then he goes, I am shamed in your courage by a mere boy. You're right. Give me one of your weapons. We will go back and see if there's anything left to save. And you see the monster family sort of moving in towards Defay. It ends now, Defay. Your murderous pursuit of my beloved family ends now. At which point, help arrives. But it's not the help you were expecting. It's the mad son who's been kept in basically darkness. He just breaks into the room with an axe. Father! By the Golden Throne, Jasper. And he basically takes out his dad with the axe.
Yep.
And then him and Gravy will make short work of all the beasts by basically dismembering everything. And it's like, I owe you much, Jasper of Panos. For all your imperfections, you're a true servant of the Emperor. To stand firm against your own polluted brethren marks you with valour and loyalty above that of most men.
Hurt me. So many years hurt me. Rid of them now. But Inquisitor must promise, Jasper. Promise to destroy man who caused all of this. Man who... Fuck you!
And then you see the Cardinal and Gravy are popping. He goes, thank goodness we were in time a second more and he'd have slain you with that axe.
You fool, Sarthos. There were things he could have told me. Return to the capital, Sarthos. I am wary of your company.
Gravier and I have one last investigation to conduct, and then we will be finished with Nicodemus forever. Pooey, yes.
Yes, so I think we can say, let's go back. The Cardinal is the one behind it.
Yep.
We were right from the start, wronging.
Yep, absolutely. The Cardinal has done so much work in throwing us off. But no, with this one, 100% the Cardinal is the figurehead, the top of the pyramid of the curse of Nicodemus.
Yep, and you just have to ask, does Defay know or suspect? We'll find out next issue. But yeah, it's very much you're one to leg it. Because it'd be easy once Defay dies, Gravier would have been killed by him.
Yep. 100%. Oh man, I love Sarthos so much. I love him. He's such a wonderfully awful but great character. There's so much here.
Well, to be fair, in most kind of fiction, these specifically, again, in most sort of like comics, the villain tends to be generally more interesting than the hero.
Yes, yeah, very true. Very, very true. I will say, I was genuinely upset that Jasper gets shot in the back. Like, didn't deserve it.
It's also the fact that it does look like, the fact he came in all guns blazing, but no noticeable wounds, that Defay was actually gentle with him.
Yeah. Defay sat and talked with him. He didn't use any of the implements of torture and answer finding. Which is a shock, a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that Jasper came to save him as well gives you the idea that Defay realised early on that the son's not a threat. He's somebody who has been mistreated badly, but he himself is not any form of chaos threat.
Yeah. And Defay is slightly less puritanical in his approach than generally almost every fucking Inquisitor in any other bit of 40k fiction you've ever read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's him and... Yep, there's him and the one from the Commissar Kane books, and that's about it.
Yeah, so 2 out of an entire order of mad bastards. Again, what the best and the worst thing about this is this. I want the Dan Abnett who writes Darkblade to be made to read that and go, here's how you do it. But we're not having introspective character moments. It's being revealed through either what's done or unsaid. the materials. It doesn't come out saying, "Oh, I helped you because you were kind to me," and it's like we can see that from just his condition and what he did.
Yeah, there's so much show don't tell happening here.
There is now. DeFay clearly believes in his mission. Is as big a zealot as any of the Inquisition. Check. However, appears to be a much more measured character than almost any other member of the Inquisition we've ever met, and will tailor his methods to suit the situation he's in, rather than if torture doesn't work, bombing the planet will.
And if that doesn't work, torture the bombs and bomb the planet again.
He has more than a Plan A and Plan B, which is more than, as I say, almost every other member of the Inquisition. So you're getting that not through the narration of Gravia, but just through the events that are being told.
Yes, because Gravia would not be describing or questioning anything that DeFay does. It would just be, this is what DeFay did. It's just a Monday. So, yeah, having it come through from the people around him and how they react, like Jasper, to DeFay when he's spoken to them in a off-panel moment, it tells you who he is as a character. It's freaking spot-on storytelling.
Yep. You've got limited space in this. You've got your 8 pages generally, so you have to spend it well. And as I've said, the biggest problem in Warhammer Monthly is there's so little to hang on most of the characters in most of the strips.
Yeah, it leads me to an interesting thought. Is there a disconnect between what Kev Hopgood is doing and what Dan Abnett is writing? That's not to say anything bad about the work that Kev Hopgood is doing, because the work it's not something that I would ever say anything bad about. But I wonder if there is some form of disconnect happening between the two. Like, is the scripts that Abnett's handing in not as in-depth as the ones he's handing in for Inquisitor or something like that?
Well, I would say I don't think there's a disconnect, because you would have the opportunity once the art has come in if you want to make any edits, and it's commonly done.
True, very true.
But the problems with Darkblade come from the actual concept of the story. It's not that Inquisitors are groundbreaking concept by any means.
No.
But what he's doing in the confines of that story is more interesting. Like I say, problems with Darkblade are
it's boring.
You got possessed by a demon because you were trying to steal some stuff. Cool, that's fine. That's your hook. You need to do these tasks to get rid of him. That's fine. The problems with Book 1 for it, where you didn't really get you didn't get much of a sense of the character of Darkblade.
No.
And it didn't feel like there was any jeopardy. So two things against it. Darkblade Book 2, he's going after it because he no longer has his soul, but there's no discernible difference between Darkblade without a soul than Darkblade when he was being possessed by a demon, and that obviously sharing his soul a part of it.
Yes.
So there's no real stake to it. And that's the problem. With this, there are very real stakes in terms of his mission is he is going to have to purge the taint of chaos. So he has to uncover it and then go through. So it's still kind of a fetch quest. It's like, I just need to unlock Mystery A, unlock Mystery B. But I'm learning about the character goes, and there's some misdirect. There's a bit of mystery, a bit of jeopardy. There still doesn't feel like there's any jeopardy in Darkblade.
No, it's because he keeps succeeding. It's like this Malice Darkblade has never failed at anything. He's never. Anytime he's caught off guard when we had a Minotaur, it's just an automatic. Here's the magic arm tells you how to win. Alright, cool. And now he's got a magic ball that tells him how to win. He just has to read it. Alright, cool.
Yeah. I mean, because we joke about it, but yes, basically, Darkblade is kind of almost an Elric figure. But it's like, read the Elric books. It's like, yeah, how many times does he end up poor, imprisoned, a slave, accidentally killing everyone he loves? That one happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes deliberately killing the people he loves. That also happens. But there's stakes, there's jeopardy, and there's loss. There's nothing for Darkblade. So, but with this, I say, in a similarly confined story in terms of page count and what you have, we're getting a lot more. Like I say, because there's not much to hang on DeFay up until now. The last 2 installments are where you kind of get a feel for it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm now interested in this character. He is still infinitely less interesting than Sarthos. But
yeah.
Part of that is also because the facial expressions from Simon Colby on Sarthos have been chef's kiss.
They're just perfect. Absolutely perfect levels of sardonic bullshittery.
It's very much... It's like the actor in the film who is slumming it, who is clearly better than the material he is doing, but not phoning it in, simply hitting a home run.
Christopher Lee in half of his movies. Vincent
Price, Peter Cushing. It has that feel of that you are that, or that character actor who, no matter what he's in, elevates it by being there. And that's how Kobe's drawing him. It's great. Because the Defay design is not a great design. It's functional, but it's a guy with a mask and a cloak.
Yeah. It's like a knockoff version of martial law. There's nothing there that screams Inquisitor as such or something unique, but it's functional. It works.
It does what it needs to do, but again, it's a case of... I mean, but again, an Inquisitor in what can only be carapace armour. Yeah. That's not tabletop without.
No, it's not.
Maybe if he's slumming it in Necromunda, but other than that... But I've enjoyed it. It's clearly, as I say, clearly the Cardinal is the wrong one we suspected from the start. And we were misdirected, so... See, well done, Mr. Abbott. Again, this is what makes Darkblade so annoying. It's like, you are better than that material. Again, not as bad as Pat Mills. Pat Mills should apologise publicly to me for... I kid. He probably didn't give a toss.
No. He got paid for some work. He did some work. Got the money. Got some shopping that week.
Fair play, yeah. But, yeah.
Would you like some feedback?
Yes.
So, Iron Crow.
This is where you can just play some feedback noise at that point. What's the feedback? That's the kind of thing I'm juvenile.
That's an amazing joke, actually. I'm annoyed I didn't think of it. Iron Crow says, I really, really enjoy the show. It's been fun reading through these again for the first time in 30 years. Have you read the Calgar comic? That's the Marvel Comics 40k one. Where
I have not, purely because I read one of the... I think was it Titan did the Dark Angels?
Yes.
Yeah, I read that. Again, Dark Angels and Inquisition being... I was like, yeah. Which I didn't mind. Nothing... I didn't read Calgar because I'm sure Kieran Gillen wrote it, did he not?
He did.
I'm sure. Yeah. I didn't read it for two reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One, if you're doing a 40k, and it's one of the reasons I didn't enjoy the Dark Angel one much. Like, if I want a comic with 40k stuff, I can't be bothered with clean art. I wanted something a bit rougher, a bit splattery, and it didn't. It was, again, it's nice modern computer colouring.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what's needed. You're not. I mean, if it appeals to other folk, fine, but you're not getting it for me.
Yeah.
The other second reason is I can't be hooked with the Ultramarines.
See, I did read it, and it's decent enough, but it has a payoff that is meaningless. And I don't know if I should give the payoff away here. Okay.
I will read it so we can talk, because just as been asked, I will read it and come back with my thoughts next episode.
We'll leave it there, but it is fascinating to me how they build up a payoff that isn't anything. It changes nothing. It's so bizarre.
I would imagine as much of that will be to be Games Workshop basically saying, here's conditions of license, this is all we'll approve.
Well, Iron Crow goes on. 40k comics, I feel, have a problem. They can never tell a big story, but also the inconsequential ones don't feel worth it. Something like the second Battle for Armageddon would be something that would work very well.
Yeah, there's stuff they could tell in and around it, because I know there's certain bits that they probably don't want to get into because they can't decide on whether it's a set in stone or it is a shifting ongoing narrative, which is a bit of a problem. If they've agreed canonically to kill off certain characters, for example,
Yarrick.
What I would say, I think Yarrick's one they're going to try and walk back stealthily.
I think he's going to turn up as a Dreadnought, but he's still going to have the hat.
Dreadnought Yarrick would be, that would work, and metal as fuck. But like, for example, Tycho, the last one, Captain Tycho, there's enough bits in the fiction that they could pick and go. Because again, like the books and obviously with they are telling an ongoing narrative, whether they want to admit it or fucking not, because it keeps doing it, but certain bits they just don't want to pull the trigger on. But you would then go back and just, if they don't want to tell like the big events that are ongoing, there's enough little bits of fluff that they could have gone in and done a book on. Or a mini-series on. There's enough bits in the Badab War, for example. You could probably pick chunks of that.
Absolutely. You've got, a 5,000-year window of modern 40k, he says with bunny ears, to play with. You can do anything in that. But even if you don't do that, you've got the time before it, and you've got the time before that. There's loads of places to do things in the corners of 40k because it's such a massive setting to tell a story. Yes, it becomes difficult to do something in like the Dark Imperium because that's kind of set in stone of how that all happened. But you could tell a story of people in that.
Or even take the big stuff that they don't really they tell you about, like the Age of Apostasy, like with all the bits around that. There's enough to tell. Or even if they just pick and establish one of the characters, is pick one of the footnotes in the thing that we know they did well in or whatever, and just expand on that.
Yeah,
you'll get enough.
100%. He also says... Sorry.
Also, Calgar's an odd pick, because basically it's like, congratulations, the Ultramarines janitor.
Oh, man. Once you've read that might be something that we pivot to at some point, just as a special one-off.
Yeah, I got quite happy to go back. Cause, like I say, the Dark Angels one thing was tight in that. I remember reading that, and it's, the Inquisition thinking the Dark Angels are hiding something. Good. Again, because you knew full well what would happen is there'd be an end of it, there'd be some vague ending that would mean that the Dark Angels get away with it, and either the Inquisitor would suspect but not be able to do anything, or he'd be dead.
Yeah.
But perfectly serviceable, but just, it was more, not the art, to be clear. The art aesthetic. No, it's the art aesthetic, because the line art could have been a bit heavier and dark as well, but they went for, this is what it is, so it's very much you've seen the Space Marine computer games. We're going to do it like that. It's like, no. You're in comics. Be messy.
Yeah. Play around. He also says, isn't it weird that a franchise UK comic on the shelves in 1997 should not have sold, as the UK comic scene was pretty much dead, but somehow Warhammer Monthly got 80-plus issues?
Well, it's got a baked-in fan base, potentially.
Yes.
And that's what you have to look at, is it'll have... It's monthly as well, so you've got shelf presence for a period of time. It's an odd one, just again, it shouldn't have worked because it's at odds with everything else that's there. But it was doing enough to, like I say, I didn't have an order. There was a fight between me and whoever the other people were that would buy it every month in Dunfermline, because I couldn't be bothered getting it from Games Workshop store, because that was the era of, if you go into the shop, they're going to do their salesman stuff at you relentlessly.
Yes.
I'm sure that hasn't changed. But
it has. They are nowhere near as aggressive anymore.
But it used to be quite bad, so I would always kind of go, if I could avoid going to the store, I would. But yeah, it's an odd one that didn't work. But I also think they're quite wise, at least in the early stages, they're picking proven talent in terms of the art for the most part from 2000 who already have inbuilt followings as well.
Yes.
So folk will go, there's new Colin McNeil. I've not seen that. And again, you're picking names who are established in terms of Dan Abnett's a reliable, trusted name. So is Gordon Rennie. Pat Mills is Pat Mills, for God's sake.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the minute you need Pat Mills, you're going to get people buy that. Because again, these are people with inbuilt fan bases who will buy it. You've got your fan base. As I say, most of our criticism around this book are about decisions that they make that don't seem to be geared to bringing new readers in.
Oh, yeah. So
it's really appealing to enough of the Warhammer 40k/fantasy fan base that they'll be picking up. So it kind of it didn't have the hurdle that another, like, for example, if someone was to launch an anthology comic like that in '99, but not in an established property, but in that same vein, where we're going to tell you tales of science fiction and fantasy and all that with the same creatives, but without that Warhammer fantasy, that had died in its arse within 2 issues.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It might have got to 5 just by the time they realised.
It's monthly, so it would have got to 3 at best.
Yeah. The reason I'm thinking 5 is how Transformers Generation 2 kind of fell apart with the UK Fleetway release. Where you got... Well, no, actually, yeah, because they got 2 issues and they went to reprints. and then reprint.
Oh, that was always going to be the plan anyway.
Yeah.
That was never going to be a... But I'm going to imagine that they might have done... Because the reprints were only there because they couldn't tell the original story because there's G.I. Joe in it.
Yes. Human
So
scientists, would you believe?
Yeah, could also be interesting had it gone on. Slight digression, is the next canonical issue has, in the US run that they'd be reprinting, has Flint from G.I. Joe in it, because it's just before Optimus and Megatron have their first set to in the book.
Yes. So,
And it has very much a G.I. Joe prominently featured.
yeah. It would be interesting to see what that would have been.
So they would either cut and shut that, or there would have been a reprint for that issue.
It does mean that, of course, due to those reprints, Bloodshed attacks Earth twice in exactly the same way.
Yes. The way you look at it is he attacks London to start with. So that's the dress rehearsal. Then he goes to all the cities of the world. So that was your trial run. And that's it.
That's fine. I will accept that, mostly because I love Generation 2 in both its forms.
Likewise.
Maybe that's something I could pull out, actually. I do have the Generation 2 roundtables we did years ago. I might put them out at some point. For anybody who's interested in UK comics, give me a shout. Let me know.
But, yeah, it's an odd thing, but I think it's the established Games Workshop fan and Warhammer 40k fans that kept that going to start with, and that allowed probably other people to get on board. And once people know about it, and it's artwork from Colin, from Gordon, or that, you'll then get people interested in it as well.
Yeah.
There's a mix of... And again, to be honest, at that time, 1000 AD is kind of shaky ground.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff happening in the background of 2000 AD that's making its future a little bit uncertain.
Yes, so you are... This is kind of a bit more solid, a bit more traditional. I'll take that.
I am looking forward to when we get towards the end of this, because just as we get to the end is when the PC game Dread vs. Death comes out. And it means there's going to be a crossover point where I can go, oh man, this is the month that the PC game Dread vs. Death came out. The game was shit. I love it.
Yep. Pause for 2 seconds. I need to go to the bathroom.
No worries.
Right.
Well, to be fair, say we're about at time anyhow, so we'll start wrapping up.
Just to go back to Dread vs. Death, Gordon Rennie wrote the novelisation of that.
He did, and I enjoyed that novelisation. It's really good.
Yep.
Tons of fun. So I think with all that being said, we will start to get out of here. So, thank you very much, Andy, for joining me once again.
Pleasure as always.
And thank you guys at home for joining us, if indeed you did. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Farewell.
Stage just blew right past you, didn't it?
Look at the size of that whammer! Wham! Cut that.
Oh, whammy. Not the triple